Today is Sunday, May 19th, 2013. This is my first installment of Raw Flow, where it's a stream of consciousness conversation with the intention of contributing something new, something healing, something interesting, something playful, contributing blank, whatever it is. I want to talk about the current paradigm that the majority seems to abide in, which is relating to yourself and relating to other people as things, as objects, as fixed role ideas. It occurs to me as a huge delusion to think of ourselves at the source of ourselves as if we were the source of ourselves. Our parents didn't create themselves. My grandparents didn't create themselves. So the source of us is mysterious. And what happens when flesh slips off, when we die, when our body dies, is also a mystery. So to think of ourselves as an object, as a thing, as a separate ego that relates to itself as this thing in here and world out there, at base, at essence, is a delusion. It's like the roots of a tree saying, I don't need the soil. I mean, if the tree or the plant isn't rooted into soil where it gets the source of its nutrients for life, it's gonna die. So, I think it's a delusion to say that we are the source of ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think that life could feel a lot more joyful and connected and fulfilling if we acknowledged that we are not just things. Perhaps on the surface, yes. I'm Alexis Leiva. I have a particular name. I'm a particular person in time, in space. I'm 33. I'm the son of particular parents. Yes, as like a facet, a presentation of my particularized humanity. At essence, we are not things, we are not objects, we are not fixed ideas or ideals or points of view. We are streams unto ourselves. We are immersed in this sea of energy, of electric, organic isness, and we are particularized streams of flesh and of consciousness tuning into the larger planetarium ecosystem universe of the sea of consciousness in which we were born into. So the request I make of myself is to relate to other people as streams whose source is unknown and whose fate is also a mystery, ultimately. And we're all plugged in, wirelessly plugged in, to this system of isness where the context can be created that we are all one universal self, particularized in time and space bound identities. Both the shallow and the depth can find a marriage and a balance and a harmony and a homeostasis such that we can find ourselves placed in grace. So essentially, marrying the light and the dark, realizing that one informs the other. Light can't be light without the context or the backdrop of darkness to fill with light. And darkness can't be darkness unless there's something that comes to fill it full with fulfilling radiance. So the marriage of the shadow self, marriage of the light self, marriage of on, marriage of off, seeing that things are defined in their likeness and their difference to each other. So the world out there and the world in here are married to each other, and it's just the brain that separates things in definitions, like out there and in here. But essentially, in the chest, in the heart, in the whole of our humanity, there is no separation at base, which is totally in our favor and is totally awesome. And perhaps traumas, perhaps past experiences, perhaps decisions you've made, perhaps points of view you've taken that you're willing to die for, even if they're killing you, have gotten to wedge themselves in between brain intellect, which has been sometimes glorified and become tyrannical, and heart, chakra, connectivity, essence, flowing, being, streaming, felt sense, felt oneness. There's a wedge that's come in between them, where brain is like, no, I am not in service of the heart. I am my own thing, being, particularized, separate, alienated thing. And I'll grab this, and I'll grab that, and I'll grab this wife, and I'll grab this husband, and this house, and this car, and these are my things. And then otherwise, I'm separate from the world out there. But I've got my little particularized shelter hiding place, and don't expect anything more of me. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I'm not saying that's wrong. In my case, the wedge that had wedged itself between my brain and my heart, between technical intellectual knowing and felt oneness being, aliveness, were divorced to each other. They were divorced to each other. And this was the conversation I was entertaining. Shadow, bad. Light, good. Because it creates self-worth, and it creates worth, and then it makes it so that I'm deserving of love and attention and worthiness. And all those things are true whether or not you do anything or not. Just by being human, you are lovable, because everything you do is caring. We are embedded with caring. Even when we care to not care about someone else, we're still caring about not caring. So we're still caring. I mean, we're these like repressed, neurotic angels. And when you take that wedge that has like wedged itself between head and heart, you take that out, create flow, you essentially go to the place of I do. I do. I'm... At some point, intellect reaches the edge of its limitations. There's a limitation to knowingness. When you get there, faith, trust, a letting go can pass the torch on to heart. And I do. So that's what I wanted to share today. Peace.